Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_Access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We may have Emilio joining us shortly. We'll see if he rolls in here late like he always is. But we got an awesome show for you guys and gals this evening as the Packers were back at practice today, albeit closed to the public. We got a lot of stuff to cover. We got a couple roster moves that took place. We've got an injury update. Jordan Love was back at the practice, so we'll talk about what he was able to do in a limited fashion. We'll also hit on a little Matthew Golden, a little Jordan Morgan, and then wrap up with a little defensive talk. So before we do all that, if you would, let's get that YouTube stuff out of the way. Hit that like button for us. Hit subscribe. If you're new here, welcome into PTA. Listen, we're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, and you're talking Packers on the daily, bringing you pregame shows, postgame shows, in-depth analysis, film breakdown, you name it. So we try to have a couple of laughs along the way as well. So appreciate you making us a part of your evening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell icon so you get notified every time we go live. Tim, how we doing, buddy? As Chet nominated you for the Sideline Reporter of the Year there, sir.
See, we just said, though, we're not media members. I'm not a reporter. I just love this team. I'm obsessed, just like you guys, right? But I appreciate the love. I really do. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, let's waste no time, man. Let's get into it. See if we can stay on track this evening, man, as we get off the rails quite often. So let's start
off the rails. Did they fix this yet, Clayton, or what?
No, they ain't fixed that. It's going to be a while, man. Listen, I've already found a cat on that game that I just went ahead and changed his face to the other dude because I couldn't take it anymore, man. They butchered my boy. They absolutely butchered my boy. So for those of you listening on the pod, you're going, what are y'all talking about? We're talking about that Matthew Golden, whatever you want to call it, screen grab.
Yeah.
Man, butchered the hairline. This is in Madden 26, so if you're new here.
They let Stevie Wonder be his barber for this
listen,
for sure.
Go pull it back up there, Tim. Look, you notice the front of the hairline, right? It's all jacked up, but then notice right there on the side too. Like, what is that? What
oh yeah,
what
it looks like the northern tip of Idaho or something going up his
Idaho. Tim, this is a family program.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are we doing here? So
I meant the state.
All right, let's dive into it. So we had a couple roster moves here earlier today, as Rob Domofsky had tweeted out. Go ahead and pull that down. Thank you, sir. So the Packers signed defensive lineman Devontae O'Malley and safety Jalen Simpson. They released cornerback Garnett Hollis Jr., and they also waived injured defensive lineman Keith Randolph. So again, you're dropping cornerback Garnett Hollis Jr. and defensive lineman Keith Randolph. You picked up defensive lineman Devontae O'Malley and safety Jalen Simpson. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to dive into how good those players are. You guys know how it is this time of year. Is there a shot they can make the team? Yeah, there's a shot, but it's very, very slim, and these are most likely camp bodies. However, we'll see if they flash here in the final preseason week, as we should see some starters play this weekend, Tim. I'm excited about it, man.
Yeah, me too. Me and Jacob will be there. It'll be awesome. Get to see it in person. Hopefully get the ones out there a little bit, but this is just due diligence, right? We just had a safety get banged up. I'm assuming Jalen Simpson coming into the fold is just to fill the gap of Omar Brown dealing with what he's dealing with right now. So, I wouldn't read too much into this either. I think that's a great point.
Yeah. And again, we'll see, man. When it comes to these kind of signings, what it really means, guys, is the last, let's say like Garnett Hollis Jr., right? They brung him in and they just released him. I guarantee you that safety Jalen Simpson right there in that pool of players, like, should we bring in Simpson? Should we bring in Garnett Hollis? They bring in Hollis. All right, we got a good look at him. Now let's get Jalen Simpson in here, take a look at him. I don't think anybody's going to be chomping at the bit to sign Garnett Hollis Jr. if for some reason they want to try to pick him up again later. So we'll see. This is just, like you said, Tim, due diligence and just running people through the hopper here and seeing who may or may not stick. So some other news that dropped, it's not really Packer related, but I think we should follow up on this. Listen, I want to be very clear here. I am not a Jaire Alexander hater. You guys know my stance. When I heard the amount of money that he was going to warrant to have him play for the Baltimore Ravens, I would love to have had him back on the Packers for $6 million, right? And I think $4 million of it guaranteed, that type of thing. I thought it was worth the risk, knowing the knee is probably still jacked up. Hey, bring him in, make sure it's incentive heavy, which that would have been, and you got an opportunity to bolster your defensive back room. Well, Tim, we heard about the injury again a couple weeks ago, and then he was back on the practice field. So here we go. Jason B. I'm not going to try to say that last name there. I'll butcher it. But Jason B. all over the Twitter. All right, there you go.
Hirschhorn, right? Jason Hirschhorn?
There you go. Sounds good. That works for me. Former Packers cornerback Jaire Alexander continues to miss practice with, quote, something he's been dealing with for a few years, according to head coach John Harbaugh. Alexander had his knee drained in July. He missed 10 games in 2024 and a knee injury that eventually required surgery. And why am I bringing this up? It's not to pile on Jaire. It's not the dog Jaire. It's to simply say, tip your cap to Goody. Yep. I was one of the fans going, hey, man, for that price, let's get him back in here. Sounds like Goody knew what he was doing. So you gotta give credit where credit's due for sure. Tim, you hate to see a great Green Bay Packer and one that was so much fun to root for. It's sounding like now, and this is on Twitter, but everybody's going, yeah, this is probably going to be his final year, most likely. So would love to see him rebound, but not looking good for job money.
No, and your heart goes out to him, right? And you hate to see this. Guys get, he's not the first guy to get his career cut short due to injury, right? We could go down the list. We don't have enough time. But yeah, you feel for him. Hopefully he can work his way back in and out. What did he play for us last year? 6 games, 7 games, something like that?
I think so, yeah, somewhere around that range.
If he can hit that mark this year in Baltimore and find the field a few times, and then, yeah, if he's just physically unable to go, maybe it's the best he just hangs it up. It's sad to say, but, love you, John, unless you're here in December against the Packers, then I don't love you on that day. That's it.
Oh, you got that right. Whether the knee's hurting or not, buddy, I hope y'all fall flat in your face when you play my Green Bay Packers. Other than that, wish you nothing but the best. Chris Casualian says injuries ruined a great talent. Sad emoji. Yeah, yep. That's very well said. My question, Tim, and I didn't plan on asking this question. We won't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I want to get your take. Is Jaire Alexander a Packer Hall of Famer?
Man.
That's tough, right?
Off the cuff, in my heart, hell yeah. Come back next year, sign a 1-day contract, take another tour, private Lambeau tour, and we'll get you in the Hall of Fame here. But I guess we'd have to look. I mean, you look at his core prime, right? Right. Before the shoulder injury, and then, the groin and the knee, and, the laundry list of things. People always talk about the knee with Ja, and it's like, the guy's been dealing with a lot over the last few seasons.
Shoulder, the knee, everything.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
So, I don't know. But in my heart of hearts, I would say, yeah, he belongs, right?
Yeah, for me, it's tough because there's no true criteria. That's the problem I have with Hall of Fame and team Hall of Fames is there's no true criteria. And I always
told you the criteria. It's in your heart. Do you love the guy? Do you want him?
I can't buy into that, man. But John Madden said it best. He said the criteria of greatness is can the story of said topic be told without mentioning that person or player's name? And can the story of the Green Bay Packers be told without Jaire Alexander's name mentioned?
Great point.
I think it could, but I'm with you, man. As a fan of Ja, in my heart, I want to go, hell yeah, put him in the Hall. But there's other great players that's still not in the Packer Hall of Fame that's like, they deserve it before him. So I would have to say no, but I
based on that premise, right? That makes a lot of sense.
And of course, leave it up to John Madden to give the perfect explanation, right?
Speaking of Hall of Famers and GOATs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Aaron Rodgers with the super chat, not the Aaron Rodgers. He's our Aaron Rodgers said, evening PTA family, the 30th, I get to cover my first game for my school paper. Also, I'm getting deja vu of Khalil Mack with the Parsons rumors. Yeah. Listen,
I'm getting deja vu of the Max Crosby rumors when I hear.
Right. Yeah. Ian Rappaport stirred the pot a little bit on the McAfee show earlier today. He didn't go, I doubt he's going to go to the Packers. It was kind of like, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I do think the Packers are in the mix. Now, I want to say he pushed back a little bit on Pretty Ricky's tweet that the Packers had made an offer. Now, that's kind of there's some blurred lines there, right, Tim? Like,
Yeah, they
he
said
said,
an offer, or he said an offer was on the table, right? He didn't say who presented an offer, who
well, no,
reached
he,
out
he,
to who,
he
right?
said the Packers did make an offer. He did
Oh
say
wow,
that.
okay.
But
That's
Ian Rappaport said, I have no knowledge of an official offer. So it sounds like the Packers probably said, hey, would you take this? And it wasn't an official offer type thing, like just filling it out, which when you put it that way, it's like, okay, they always do that, right? Like just about every team in the league typically does that. But when old Pretty Ricky on X came in with, hey, the Packers are I think they said the only team. Maybe I'm misremembering the tweet, but not that it really matters. But yeah, the Micah Parsons stuff is very interesting. Again, it depends on what you'd have to give up. People ask me a bunch on X and everything and DM me, and they're like, hey, would you trade for Micah Parsons? I mean, yeah, absolutely. What are we talking though?
right.
We got to have some kind of guideline.
Would I give up one of my top receivers and first or second or third round draft picks? Probably, I don't know,
Right. Yeah.
What does that mean for our team if we bring a guy like that in who's not getting those reps?
Right. Yeah. And for me, it's until I know some kind of guidelines on the trade. No, I mean, I heard people saying give a first, 2 seconds for Sean Gary and LVN. I was like, what the hell are we talking? What are we doing here, people? Like, this is one player. One player does not make the entire team. Now, if you can get him for a reasonable amount, like, let me put it this way. If the Cowboys called and said, will you give us a first-round pick, a first-round pick and say Romeo Doubs, or a first-round pick and say, trying to think of another player that we may be looking to let go in a contract year, someone like
Rasheed Walker.
Rasheed Walker. That's a good one, Tim. Even then, it's kind of like, ugh, but I'd probably do that. I think Micah Parsons worth the first-round pick because the way I always look at it is when you go into the draft, how confident are you can draft said player with your first round pick? I'm not very confident that I could find a top 5 pass rushing edge defender with my first round pick, knowing that we plan on making the playoffs. We're probably going to be picking at least into the 20s, right? So that's why I would be willing to give a first. But when you're talking about multiple starters and a couple of firsts, second, this and that, just can't do it, man. Cannot do it. So
I agree.
But Aaron, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate you, man.
And congratulations, Aaron. That's awesome, man. Congrats on the assignment. That's so cool, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, man, let's move it along. So those are your roster moves, like I said, and just a little update there on Ja. I like to kind of keep my finger on the pulse in terms of, okay, how did Goody's moves work out? Not to pile on him, not to go, ha, you screwed it up, but just to kind of learn. It's all learning experience for everybody to see what worked and what didn't, right? So with that being said, let's move into the Packers practice earlier today and more specifically the injury report, Tim. We got some new people that popped up on the injury report today. Returning to practice with the back injury was Romeo Doubs. That's great news, right? Quarterback Jordan Love, we're going to hit on him extensively here in a second. We got some clips showing you what he did there, participating in a limited fashion earlier today. So he returned. The new injuries, however, Tim, Kenny Clark, back injury. Lucas Van Ness, back injury. Aaron Banks, back injury. Offensive lineman Jacob Monk, hamstring. Wide receiver Savion Williams has a hammy. Now, that's listed by Wes Hawkowitz as a new one. I thought that was carrying over from last week, but I guess I'm wrong there. Nonetheless, those are pretty significant, man. You're talking about 3 starters,
For sure.
Now, this, to me, though, Tim, maybe I'm looking at this through rose-colored glasses. I'm looking at this like this is probably precautionary. A little tightness. Hey, guys. Aaron Banks is the one that worries me the most, Tim, because that's
not really new, right?
Right.
We knew he had a back issue when we signed him, right?
Well, he came, if I understood correctly, he came back to practice last week, and he would have played if we had played the starters. And then, of course, we sat the starters. Now, all of a sudden, it sounds like the back injury's back. No pun intended. So that's the way I'm understanding it, but I don't know. What's your take on those new injuries there? Again, I think this is probably precautionary. Like, hey, it's not good news. It can never be good news, obviously. But.
Especially not with, big O linemen and big D linemen, right? Seeing Rome with a back issue come back, that makes you feel really good, right? You know, maybe he tweaks something, you know, he's a receiver, but when you've got, you know, 6'5+ and 300-pound plus frames and you have a back issue, that can really mess things up for you. So I think you're right. If they erred on the side of caution, that's good. You know,
Yeah.
You tweak a back, it's football, right? Think how many times you're bending down and you're slamming into guys. I mean, I would think, you know, maybe next to like the ankle or the hammies, those seem to be the common injuries is tweaking your back. So hopefully it's precautionary.
Right. And the did not participates, running back Marshawn Lloyd with the hammy, defensive lineman Baron Sorrell with the knee, safety Omar Brown with the chest, safety Zane Anderson with the knee, safety Xavier McKinney with the calf, wide receiver Jaden Reed with the foot, wide receiver Dontavion Wicks with the calf, and cornerback Nate Hobbs with the knee. Nothing surprising there. We expected the two new injuries there with Marshawn Lloyd and Baron Sorrell, along with Omar Brown with the chest injury, of course. The other stuff is, I think those guys are going to be ready to go week one, personally. Now, I will say this. Somebody makes a great point here in the comments. Blake B says, those are all guys in the trenches. They did a ton of 7-on-7 today. This might be a little bit of gamesmanship by Matt LaFleur and the crew, Tim, because obviously 7-on-7, you're keeping the trenches out of it, right? You're keeping the offensive lineman off the field. Maybe this was like, hey, let's give these guys a rest day, an extra rest day since we're going 7-on-7. You know what? Let's throw them on the injury report just for craps and
games. Yeah, we're playing chess, not checkers, right? We say that all the time. That's why you got to love Tupac LaFleur. I wouldn't put it past him at all. I mean, it's pure speculation on our part, but I love that gamesmanship, right?
No,
I mean, we're going into our last preseason game. You want to get some looks at some of these other guys. We just talked about we have signings. We got people coming in and out of the building all the time. If you've got a guy who's tightening up or, you know, maybe feels like he tweaks something a little bit, let's just sit him out, you know?
Yeah.
I like it.
And Ed Madden makes a great point. Says, I think if they were concerned, they would be bringing in old lineman in for a look. That's a great point. Great point. So I appreciate that comment there, Ed. You in here thinking responsibly. And, of course, on the PUP list, wide receiver Christian Watson, defensive end Colin Oliver, and, of course, offensive lineman John Williams. I always forget the first name because it's so simple. So anything else you got to add to the injury report before we get into some Jordan Love talk here, Tim? Anything at all?
Colin Oliver. Hoping to see that guy in the preseason, but it's not happening. That's kind of sad, right?
That's how I feel about Savion. I'm like, it's such a missed opportunity because, as I think it was Wildy was saying on Wildy and Tausch earlier today, or maybe it was actually Tauscher saying it. It's like, man, you got all these wide receivers banged up. Your Jaden Reed, your Dontavion Wicks, Romeo Dobbs had the back. Been the perfect opportunity for Savion to go out there and kind of grab a little bit of that attention. And unfortunately, it just hasn't been able to work out. So we'll see, man. We want physical players, right? We want guys that are going to just run their ass off and put their face in the fan and all that stuff. But the reality is he played college like that, and he came into the league with a torn labrum. They had to have surgery, and when you play physical, there's repercussions. You know, it's kind of like Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander played physical when he was young, hurt the shoulder, had to change his game to stay on the field and not play the run as hard. And we dogged him, myself included, when he wouldn't put his nose in there to make a tackle. I was like, come on, Jair, you're getting paid a lot of money. But when you play the game a certain way, man, injuries are going to happen. So we can't have it both ways. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you play the game anyway, injuries are going to happen. You know, we talked about that yesterday a little bit, right? You know, you can have the best, you know, athletic training department and the best doctors in the National Football League. You're still going to have guys on the injury report. It's just the nature of the beast, right?
Yep, definitely. All right, let's get into the Jordan Love talk. As he returned to practice earlier today, Matt Schneidman got this video right here, and you'll notice the wrap on the left hand here of Jordan Love as they run out onto the practice field. So, again, left hand wrapped. I was interested to see how are they going to handle this. Now, obviously, 7-on-7, typically there's a center involved with 7-on-7 is the way I understand it because they want to still practice those snaps, right? But I was eager to see if he was going to be taking snaps, and we got some interesting footage right here, Tim, of Jordan Love, and thought this was pretty creative, man. I've watched a lot of football and watched a lot of training camps. I don't remember anybody breaking out this trick, as Ryan Wood tweeted out a video, said Jordan Love taking snaps from a stool. So as you see here, they actually got the ball sitting on a stool, and that way he can get down in the position, take the snap, and still have to grab and grip really quick and obviously let that thing go. So that was pretty interesting to me, man.
I think that's interesting too, because it's kind of a step up from the old school way. You know, you'd have your assistant kneel down and kind of hold it on his knee. If you want to simulate a snap, you're dealing with a guy with a hand injury, thumb injury, finger injury, whatever. But adding it to the stool, it's like you eliminate any chance of him hanging anything up on anything. He can just grab that football and work on that release. I don't think we're worried about his throwing arm. I think if anything, they're keeping a real close eye on that support hand. Be interesting to see him handing the ball off. You know, Emilio brought that up a few shows ago. You know, what is the run game going to look like with that offhand, depending on what we're doing back there, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's just kind of interesting how they chose to do that. And of course, leave it up to Matt LaFleur and Adam Stenavich to get a little bit creative there. Yep. I'm sure it's not the first time that's happened. It's just,
I wonder which cameraman or whoever who lost their stool privileges for practice. You know, someone had to stand.
So this is Ryan Wood mentions the stool here again. See if we can go full screen, mute it. So here is Jordan actually holding the ball, right, rather than the stool just holding it. You see him connect him with Romeo Dobbs here out on the practice field earlier today with some of the other drills. You know, listen, we're focused on Jordan Love, but anytime you got other players on the screen, take a peek. Look at Matthew Golden at the bottom. Watch his feet, Tim.
Oh, I told you, man.
So
Michael Jackson, smooth criminal.
And we're going to get to him here in a little bit. We're going to talk a little more on him, but yeah, that's. I'm just not used to seeing it, man. And listen, I know Romeo Dobbs is a great route runner, right? We talked about it. Tay Wicks has got awesome footwork as well, but man, is Matthew Golden twitched up. Again, guys, watch his feet on the left side here. Just look how quick.
It's like his off the ball. It's like the first move and the release happened simultaneously almost.
Yeah.
Right here. Look at that. If you're a DB and you're playing press right there, I feel really bad for you.
Right. Good luck. Good luck pressing him, right? So as Coach says, Sudden, he is twitched up, no doubt about it. Let's go to the next one here. And here is Jordan Love dropping back and hitting Matthew Golden on the sideline. Feet in, turning it upfield. So, again, Jordan Love, we're just trying to get a good look at him. Tim, he looks very, very crisp too, man. Very clean with his delivery. Obviously, the thumb, you can't take snaps, things like that. But, man, his arm, to me, it looks like he has taken the next step with his arm this year in camp. I mean, he's dropped several in the bucket on some long-range throws to McCole Hardman.
I caught those on X earlier when you were posting them. That was amazing just to see that progress, you know. We talked about that, right? For the last couple of seasons, we talked about he was so close, but he just had to get that touch and get that feel. You know, Jordan used to miss by a lot or miss by a little, and now he's not missing at all, it seems like. I mean, he's pinpoint right now.
Yeah. Chris, the casual Packers fanatic. I got to start calling him the right thing here now. He's changed his name on me again. If Matt LaFleur can take advantage of all – I'm going to always call him Chris the casual in. I'm sorry. You need to change it back, buddy. If Matt LaFleur can take advantage of all these weapons, the offense can be unstoppable. Here's the thing that sticks out to me, Chris, and I agree with you 100%, but protecting the football, man, that's where we struggled last year. And it's amazing, like, not many people talk about it. You know, it's always talking about how the pass rush wasn't good enough or this wasn't good enough. We turned the ball over, and listen, I'm going to be honest, it was Jordan. It was Jordan, and I do chalk it up to some of the injuries and him not being able to play at the full capacity of, you know, using all of his talents. But if we cut his interceptions down just by a third, you would have won 2 more games last year, I believe. Because we remember, Tim, we went back through the close games there, and I believe the divisional games, as a matter of fact. There was at least 2 of those divisional matchups that we lost where, man, if he doesn't throw that one interception in each of those games, boy, oh boy, it's a different ball. Like with Detroit, the pick 6, right? Like that's a perfect example.
So, oh, yeah. Or we talk about the late over the middle in San Francisco, right? We all remember that one. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's one thing we also said when we talked about that was the fact that we really respected that about his game. It's kind of that gunslinger in him, right? We always talk about that killer instinct that I'm going to go ahead and try and take that shot. Or if I feel like I can do it, I'm going to try it. I think the difference is now is, like you said, the arm is there. The accuracy is coming along. And I also think his processing, I mean, you see the checks at the line, just the way he runs the huddle now, more vocal as a leader. You guys, we are all witnessing him really hitting that stride as QB1, I think. So 2025, you know, strap your seatbelts on. It's going to be a hell of a ride.
And this clip here for everybody on the podcast that can't see it, this is him hitting Tucker Kraft now on what I would consider kind of a skinny post top route. Just Tucker would be lined up as an attached Y 3-point stance and just a quick little throw. But watch Jordan's feet, Tim. Watch him reset, back, set, reset, bam, out. That's clean.
Yeah.
That's
MG
clean.
isn't the only one that's sudden and got good footwork, right?
His footwork looks way better this year, and I've been seeing it in camp all year long. Watch everybody in the chat. Watch Jordan's feet right here. He's going to drop back 1, 2, 3, set, bounce back, set, let it rip, perfect spiral, right on the money. Looking good, as Daryl says. Dart throw, yes sir.
Yep,
yes sir. So again, we just got to get that thumb healthy and play it safe. I don't want to see him anywhere near his helmet. Come, what is it? Is the game on Saturday or Sunday this week?
Saturday. Yep, Saturday.
We'll be live for a pregame show, postgame show, all that stuff for that event. Obviously, I just didn't know what day it was on exactly. After the Redneck Brawl, bro, I don't know what day it is. I'm
still recovering, right?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get back to reality. Like, did that actually happen, or was that a dream? At one point too, the crowd did start chanting Jerry, like Jerry Springer, Jerry.
Oh, of course, gotta love it. So,
anyway.
I think real quick, wrapping up Jordan Love here with the thumb. You talk about the stool. We see it again here. They're using the stool as the, substitute for him taking a snap, obviously, because of, recovery or whatever. I mean, that's going to be our first indicator. I can't wait to see Wes Hockowitz tweet Jordan Love taking live snaps from Elton Jenkins or something. It'll be a good indicator that we're getting there,
I love what Coach says here, too. That's a good layered throw. Absolutely. I mean, you could tell this is one of those, hey, a backer sitting underneath in a hook curl, just layer it right in. You ain't got to throw a rocket ball every time, right? We know Jordan can throw rocket balls. He's got the fastest clock pass in NFL history. Of course, I understand Brett Favre fans. I got you. I think Brett could throw harder than Jordan too. I guarantee it. But the only, in terms of passes that have been clocked in the next gen era, next gen stats era, Jordan has the hardest thrown ball. I want to say it was 61 mile an hour, I believe. But
you're right. Just like Brett, you got to learn to have that touch, be able to feather it in, float it in, drop it in the bucket. And I think we're seeing it. We really are. Real time. You can see it here.
Clint asks, how hot were the ring card girls, Clayton?
Oh boy.
There's one comment that was shouted from the crowd that I wish I could say on the show. I probably could, but I know it's going to make somebody mad. Yeah, Rome wouldn't approve. I'm going to keep it to myself, but Clint, let's just say this, sir. I am so thankful for my wife, right? That I married up, and all my buddies that were there, we had our wives there, and we all agreed, boy, did we marry up. It wasn't we'll just leave it at that, okay? And
out kicking your coverage, as they say, right?
All I kept thinking is that's somebody's daughter up there. Golly. That's all I could think, Tim. All night long.
All I could think of, I was looking at the videos in our group chat, and I just kept thinking, when you guys got home, I hope you
wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
It's funny you mentioned that. We get halfway through the event. Mandy said it's halftime. I went, how do you know? She's like, it's close enough. Turn around here. And I turn around. Put your hands out. She hit me with hand sanitizer. It's like,
love it.
Get it well beyond the wrist there, Clayton. Please, what she said. So, all right, I got you. We're good. It was a heck of an environment. So, anyway, yeah, thanks for taking us off the rails there, Clint. Appreciate you, buddy. So, here's love to Dobbs. And this one was Bill Huber had X'd this one out, and just a little curl. It might have been the same throw. We've seen just a different angle there. And again, I love that Bill Huber had the wherewithal to zoom in on Love holding the ball. You can see the brace there, or the wrap, rather. Love looks good, man. We're good to go. Just get the thumb healed up. That's what it comes down to. So,
he's probably adjusting to that, right? It's got to feel a little unorthodox. You've basically got your palm, and then you've got like 4 fingers to kind of support the ball as you go into your drop back. I mean, this kid's talented. We know this. He's going to be fine, right?
Oh, he's in good shape, man. There's no doubt about it. All right, so in terms of what he did in 7-on-7s today, Ryan Wood threw a tweet out there. Jordan Love is participating in 7-on-7 drill, a rare appearance of 7-on-7 for a Matt LaFleur training camp. Just fired a fastball to Malik Heath over the middle, beating Keyshawn Nixon. So, again, make a little note, Malik Heath beating Keyshawn. That's not the dog Keyshawn. It's just to say, all right, Malik Heath's still out there. Obviously, he had a rough week 1 in the preseason and looking to bounce back the rest of camp for sure. Next play here, Romeo Dobbs. I wanted to mention this real quick, Tim. Ryan Woods said Romeo Dobbs has dropped 2 passes in the first 10 period. Of course, there's also a torrential downpour right now, so context matters. So wouldn't look too much into that. And no quicker than he had tweeted that out, we got this tweet from Ryan Wood. Romeo Dobbs with a nice adjustment on a back shoulder throw from Malik Willis. Good coverage from Carrington Valentine, but a better throw and catch for about 20 yards down the left sideline. Malik Willis, to me, too, Tim, looks like he's taking a step just based off what we've seen in practice. I know you've seen it firsthand as well. I'm really excited to see what Malik does. Is that hopefully we don't see him all year other than mop-up duty. But I thought, considering he wasn't playing with the starters there, and when I say starters, guys, understand this too. I've had people come at me from the Vikings fan base on X going, "Oh, you played a bunch of backups. Y'all didn't do anything." No, their starters were in. Idiot. Don't know what. It's just amazing how quick people are to prove their ignorance. But Malik Willis going out there and leading the charge with the backup offensive line, essentially, with the exception of Jordan Morgan, who's competing for the left tackle, obviously. And Tim went out there with none of the top receivers and played. I thought he played pretty decent, me personally. I thought he managed pretty well. So
to me, that says everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that shows you he's a gamer. I mean, we've seen him do it with the starters, right? Got us some wins last year. It's one thing to go, to the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, however many levels on the depth chart there are right now with the roster size we have, and work with these guys and still find success. I think you're right. We've said it before that there's probably more than a handful of teams that, would love to have Malik Willis as their starter right now. And got to feel good about having a backup quarterback like that behind Jay Money. So love it.
Yeah, Rob Domofsky tweeted out, just to wrap up the Jordan Love segment here, Love completed 9 of 12 passes with 1 interception. That was Javon Bullard. We'll get to that in a minute. During an 8-minute 7-on-7 period, he took every rep of that drill. So Matt LaFleur really kept him out there for the entirety of that 7-on-7, which I love. Get as much work in as you possibly can, for sure. Yep. And keep that one marked for me, Tim, because we're going to talk Bullard and Evan Williams here in a little bit. What I'm going to do is keep this. This will kind of wrap up the Jordan Love segment, and then we'll come around to the defense on the backside of the show. I want to talk about those 2 guys because they sound like they had a pretty good day in practice as well. Is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of Jordan Love before we move on to Matthew Golden? Anything you know?
No, just hoping there's no setback, right? Because that can be a finicky thing. And yeah, it's non-throwing hand, but like I said, I want to see how he looks in some of the, the handoffs and things like that, taking the snap. Because, we love Jordan, man, but we can't have a fumble or a botched exchange in week 1 against Detroit. So if you can't secure the snap, you know what I mean? I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but that's where my head kind of goes, and I'm sure he'll be fine. But, all it takes is that weird little tweak, and all of a sudden you're kind of back where you started. So hopefully all is well, because they did that surgery right away. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, as Daryl says, Jordan Love got this. Completely agree, Daryl. Completely agree. All right, Tim, let's move on to the Matthew Golden talk. There's a little bit of Jordan Love in here as well, right? But Ryan Wood tweeted out, in 7 versus 7, Jordan Love throws a perfect pass to back left corner end zone to Matthew Golden in double coverage against Javon Bullard and Evan Williams. Pretty ball for about a 15-yard touchdown. Matthew Golden, man, I can't say enough about him, dude. He's just it's been one of those camps that the time that I've been a Packer fan, and understand this too, guys. Like I've been a Packer fan since around 2003, and when I say that, Tim, I always think that's probably de-edifying for me, right? Like people go, "Oh, he's only been a Packer fan since 2003," and then I looked up at him like, it's actually 22 years, a couple of decades. So we've been following the team pretty close for a while.
That's right.
But I started following training camp and really diving into the game of football around 2010. I mean, like getting embedded in the X's and O's and trying to learn it. Like if I had to go out and coach a game, if I had to go out and call plays, if I did that, I want to get as close to game ready as possible for that, just to kind of take your fandom to a different level, if that makes sense. I know that's very nerdy, but that's just, as Mandy will tell you, my wife will tell you, man, when I get something on my mind, it's like, she said, there's no gray area. There's no warm. It's hot or you're cold. You either would do anything for said person or you can't even stand to look at them. There's nothing in between. That's kind of where I'm at. So same way with Fanning here, but been watching the Packers for a long time. I remember when they drafted Javon Walker, and he was kind of, wow, this first round pick, he's supposed to be everything. And obviously that didn't pan out. I mean, Greg Jennings has come through. Jordy Nelson's come through. Randall Cobb has come through camps. You name it. Devontae Adams. This is the first time since I've been a Packer fan that since day one, Matthew Golden is like, damn, this dude looks different. This dude looks like, Devontae, there was drop issues, right? Jordy was kind of buried on the depth chart. He had world-class speed for a guy of his stature and everything. You could see the tools and the traits. You knew he was going to be good, but he didn't just absolutely blow up his first year and that first year in camp either. This is different, man. This is so different. Randall Cobb, same thing. Like Randall Cobb, all these guys contributed day one. Don't get me wrong. But Matthew Golden just looks like this guy's it. He's got it. And part of me is like, am I putting too much pressure? Not that he's listening to the show. Obviously, he's not. I mean, I don't know why people are in here right now, to be honest with you. But I'm just simply saying that.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Are my expectations starting to get too high, Tim? You know what I mean? Or should we just say, you know what? Let's just go all in. If he doesn't pan out, he doesn't pan out. But everything we've seen so far, dude's a real deal. Seems
you
like
see my edit. I had to put it on the screen. You know how I feel.
Oh yeah,
I'm all in too. I mean, if you can't see it by now, I'm praying for you. Really, generational talent here for sure.
Give me another one. Give me the Matt LaFleur with the. I almost want you to. You know what? Since we're talking Matthew Golden, give me the Madden screenshot. Heck with it. Let's do it. All right. So this was on the McAfee show. Okay, earlier today, and this is Darius J. Butler, right? One of the, I think it was Bill Belichick. He played for Belichick for a little bit and then went to Indy, obviously, later in his career. A DB that played safety and corner. Belichick said was one of the smartest players that he had ever coached. Okay, so this is Darius J. Butler. And he's talking to Harry Douglas. If you guys don't remember Harry Douglas, he played for the Atlanta Falcons. He was a wide receiver, excellent wide receiver, right? Now he's covering college football. Listen to what he had to say about Matthew Golden. Because again, I'm kind of like, all right, am I going too deep in here and completely fanboying out over Matthew Golden, or is he the real deal? Listen to what Harry Douglas had to say about it.
Going to have to get covered. A lot of rookie wide receivers. I know you're tapped in the college football game and obviously NFL. A lot of rookie wide receivers going to be on the board. Travis Hunter, Matthew Golden out to Green Bay, Ibuka down in Tampa Bay, T-Mac in Carolina. Who do you, expect the most out of this year early on? I think only Golden I would expect to probably be wide receiver one, and maybe T-Mac down in Carolina. The other guys have other counterparts, but who's kind of in that best position that you expect the most production going into this year?
I'm going to go with Matthew Golden for Green Bay because finally, Jordan Love has a number one wide receiver. This is a guy that for the last 6 games at Texas last year, he led Texas in receiving yards, and he was their big play guy. SEC championship, big games down the stretch. It was Matthew Golden that Quinn Ewers went to time and time again. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. He has the size, he has the speed, he has the explosiveness. He's a hands catcher. He's strong at the catch point as well. So I'm really looking forward to him taking the top off and also intermediate on crucial downs, 3rd and 3 to 5, 3rd and 6 and 7, running that slant, catching the ball strong with his hands, not worried about the safety hitting him. Looking forward to Matthew Golden. Here's another chess piece guy that I'm looking at too.
All right, so there you go. That was Harry Douglas again on the Pat McAfee show talking about Matthew Golden. Tim, Darius J. Butler gave him several options, right? And was like, what do you think about this guy, that guy, this guy? Who sticks out to you? The one he led off with, Matthew Golden. And he talked about the very thing that we hit on when we drafted Matthew Golden was this guy his play is ascending as he's entering the league. He seemed to get better as his final season in college went along, and he played his best football when the season was on the line, the SEC championship, right? He just played his best football in some of those larger stages. Isaiah Bond obviously came over to Texas to be the number one. Matthew Golden snatched it from him by the end of the year. So to hear Harry Douglas, again, I think he was a very good wide receiver in the league. He knows what it takes to be a wide receiver at the National Football League level. And then you've also got Darius J. Butler, who knows what it takes to cover great wide receivers. For both of them to bring him up, and then Harry Douglas to choose Matthew Golden in that specific segment, it made me feel a lot better about fanning out here lately about Matthew Golden.
Right. It kind of reinforces your gut instinct about him. And then I think about just watching his process out there too. We always talk about Rashawn Gary, right? And how you can just see when that man walks onto a football field, it's different. His whole process, the way he moves, the way he goes about his preparation. That's right. Bang Gary, right? Well, that's Matthew Golden on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe a little less intense, but intense in his own right, in his own way. For a guy with this much talent and ability, it's really refreshing to see that he's not, a prima donna, and he's not full of himself and, worrying about all the things that have nothing to do with the game. It seems like Matthew Golden is a student of the game, and it shows in the way he plays. That's why we are high on him right now, even though he's a rookie, and we're chomping at the bit for week 1 against Detroit, because I can't wait to see him. But I think we got one here, and I don't think there's any reason any of us should temper expectations or feel bad about being excited about Matthew Golden, because I think he's going to be a star.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because everybody I haven't seen anybody that's like, hey, you're off base here. It seems like we all are seeing and hearing the same thing coming out of camp, and it feels different. Like Jerry says here in the chat, says, I feel I might be too optimistic too, Clay. It's like we're a little afraid of getting hurt here. Like, okay, are we just going too far into the deep end too quick? But man, listen, we talk about on this show when people underperform. We talk about it on this show when things don't go the right way. We should be allowed to talk about it when somebody, seems to flash and look the part. Like Ed Madden said, Steve Smith Sr., another great wide receiver, right? He had Golden as his top receiver in the entire draft. I'm going to be honest, Tim, when he said that, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, come on, man. You got Ted McMillan. You got some of these other huge playmakers. What are we talking about here?
I was there too. Remember, I was down on Golden because of his size.
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit to it too. I was all about Jaden Higgins, right? And here we are, ecstatic that we probably have the best receiver out of that draft, arguably the best receiver in the draft class.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, Steve Smith Sr. Having Golden number 1 is just another. We got Harry Douglas. You got Steve Smith Sr. You got all these. I remember when they drafted them too, right? Like there was nobody on the panel who was like, I don't agree with this. There were several people like, that's going to be the pick. The Packers love this dude. So, and the other thing I'll say before we wrap up this Golden segment here is, think of all the receivers that the Packers have drafted, guys. Think about this. You've got, Christian Watson, great wide receiver. Obviously, got to stay healthy, right? And I think this is gonna be the year once he comes back from the ACL. We go, okay, that's finally fixed. Great receiver, took him in the second round. Jaden Reed, great receiver. He's led the Packers in receiving yards, catches, and I think touchdowns the last 2 years. Second round pick. I think we would all agree Romeo Doubs has been a good receiver, right? Very good receiver. He was what?
I just caught the ball.
He was a 4th or a 5th round pick. I'm trying to remember. You guys correct me in the chat there. So a little bit later round pick. Go back a little bit further, Tim. You got Jordy Nelson, 2nd round pick. I believe Greg Jennings was a 2nd round pick. I believe, Randall Cobb's 2nd round pick, if I remember correctly.
What round was Donald Driver picked in?
7th, right? Devontae Adams, 2nd round pick. And why am I mentioning this? Guys, this is the first time. When you hear it's the first time they drafted a receiver in the first round since however long ago it was, 2003, whatever it was, people hear that and go, okay, well, my mind immediately goes to, we have never drafted a receiver that we actually had a first-round grade on, right? There's a chance that Christian had a first-round grade, but it's obvious it wasn't a high enough grade to pull the trigger in the first round. You waited till the second and with all the other guys. So we shouldn't be surprised because we've hit on all those receivers outside of the first round. And now if Goody sees this and goes, that dude's worthy of a first-round pick, he's going to be a tier ahead of these other guys. So it's really exciting, man. Really, really exciting. So, again, I'm ready to get hurt again. You know what I mean? That's the way it goes. So that's going to do it for hour 1, though. For you, all you wonderful men and women listening, on the podcast. We appreciate y'all more than you know. You're the lifeblood of what we do in here. We know that you're listening every day, and we try to do our best to illustrate or paint a picture for you guys and gals so you can understand what we're seeing on the live YouTube stream. We really appreciate you. We'll be back here on the other side for hour 2. We hope you come back. See you then.